Hi everyone, so today's video is all about what I've been up to in May. So I did a little bit less sewing in May, so I've got just a couple of things to show you clothing wise, but I really wanted to, well, as part of my Me May pledge, is to do less clothes sewing and more trying of other crafts and sewing other different things, accessories, etc. as well. So I'm going to go through all of those at the end, but first I'll show you what I'm wearing at the moment. So this is a Simplicity pattern. I can't remember the number, but I'll pop the number down at the bottom of the details. This is a dress I made for the Minerva Crafts Blogger Network make, and this fabric is a linen look viscose from a Lady McElroy print. So it's got this really bright yellow base with these lovely purple flowers all over them. I just thought it was really fun and summery. So this dress comes, well, this pattern comes as a couple different dresses, a top and a trouser pattern, with a wrap style. It's not kind of a traditional wrap because they're the sashes are basically joined in at the side seam and then tied at the front rather than wrapping it all the way around the body. So I'm going to just stand up and show you what that looks like. So I've made this as a mini dress. Basically it's supposed to be just below the knee or maxi length, and I've just shortened it slightly to make it like a fun mini dress. I had made it at the knee length version, but I just felt like it was too much print and it was just a lot of dress for me, so I thought let's make it a really fun summer dress and shorten it. The other adjustment I made to this, besides shortening everything as I normally would do, is to omit the really wide belt on this side. So it's meant to have an asymmetric belt, so it's wider on your right side and then coming smaller on your left side and ties in the middle. And I decided that just because of my length that I have here, that the wide belt would look really weird because it'd be going like over my bust, so I just kept it as the same as the left hand side, made a narrow one there. It's got pockets, just really cute. I really like it. I really like the little cap, little sleeve here as well. It's just a really fun floaty dress. I will say this, the downside to this fabric is that after I washed it, it did shrink quite a lot. It's quite a wrinkly fabric, so, and I for some reason decided not to iron it before I started cutting my fabric, so I ended up having to like iron things out and straighten things out and things like that. But probably not the kind of fabric you want to take on holiday because it will wrinkle like crazy, kind of like what actual linen would do. But no, this is fake linen. That being said, I really love it, but it just needs to be hung up ideally. I'll show you what my next thing is. So this pattern is called Amelie. It's from Untitled Thoughts, which is quite a new indie pattern company. This is the first time I've used any of their patterns, so I can't kind of comment on what their other stuff is like, but I really like the style of this dress. It's got that kind of modern vintage feel to it. Short sleeves, you can have it sleeveless as well. It's got these angled darts on the front bust, waistband and a gathered A-line skirt with a lot of flair to it, and patch pockets on the front. The back has these button back on the skirt and a button at the top as well. The back, although I've gone for the open back option, there is an option to have a bra friendly version as well, which just overlaps right in the middle, so it's still got a bit of exposed skin there, but just a little bit more bra friendly if you don't like showing it. Personally, I don't mind. I'm always of the school of thought that if your bra is pretty enough, put it on show, no one's really gonna mind. I've made mine out of a linen fabric from Seasalt Cornwall. I bought like a huge bolt of it last year because they only sell it in like 1, 3 or 5 meters, and I think I got the 5 meter one on sale. So yeah, it's got a lot of body to it. I wonder what this would look like in something drapier because it will fall, I think, a bit differently, but this gives it a slightly more vintage look, I think. But it's a really fun pattern. I would always recommend for everyone to toile or muslin the bodice, especially if you're doing the open back design, because if you have anything like a sway back, anything like that, you will find it harder to adjust. So I tried mine first with just the top and up to the waistband so I could close it, and then I ended up having to take a fair bit out of the back because I normally do a sway back adjustment. So that's something to kind of bear in mind when you're making it, and perhaps try it in some practice fabric first. But I think it's really fun, really flouncy dress. I do want to make one more, I think, because the bodice has changed a fair bit since the tester version, which this is, was released, where there's an extra dart in the side here, and the whole point of that was to make these darts look a little less pointy there, which I think on me it does come up quite a bit. The bodice is drafted for both a B cup and a double D cup, and one of the few like indie patterns I think that's really starting to try to draft for different body shapes and sizes, which I think is really great. So yeah, hold tight, I'm going to show you one more outfit. So the last thing I have to show you, which I think I just missed my last vlog, is this jumpsuit. So this is called Carmella. It's from the Fibre Mood magazine, from issue 1. I think you can still buy it on kind of back catalogue if you are interested in it. But I have been looking for a really great boiler suit pattern, and I really love this one. So, I mean, I'm wearing it with the sleeves rolled up, but normally you can have it with cuffs down to the bottom. I've made it with cuffs. I just didn't bother putting buttons and buttonholes in them because I knew that I would never wear it like that. And same with the buttons all the way up to the top, and you can kind of button it all up, but I leave mine open. I made a few changes to the pattern. So I've added a kind of long belt loop almost all the way around, just to encase the waist belt, because I felt that that would cinch me in a little bit better. I've taken a little bit of length out of the waist here, and I've tapered in the leg very slightly at the bottom just to give it a slightly more kind of neater, modern look to it as well. It has side seam pockets on each side seam on the trouser, pockets on the front breast pockets. I've added my own patch pockets on the bum as well, just because I think that, you know, it's kind of like a working outfit. You want it as functional as possible, and for me that means as many pockets as you can get onto it. This fabric is a cotton linen mix that I got from myfabrics.co.uk. I really love this fabric. Actually, that cotton linen mix is great in that it feels really sturdy and really doesn't wrinkle that much as well, not as much as I thought it would do, and kind of gives it just that bit of body and a bit of shape to it. So yeah, I really love it. I've literally been wearing this, like, I've been living in it since I've made it. All those people who think boiler suits are crazy, you're wrong, they're amazing. I really want to make one in a fun colour. I feel like this one makes me look a bit like I'm a mechanic. I probably went a bit too kind of traditional. I was hoping that this fabric would look a bit more like denim rather than like overalls, but it very much stayed in the overall category. But I still love it, I still wear it. I think it still looks really funky, and you know, it's all about kind of styling it out and all of that kind of stuff. But I really love boiler suits still, and hopefully I'll, you know, find the time to make a few more as well. So that's all the outfits I'm going to show you, just the 3 things, of which actually I think I only made one during May, but I do have a few other things to show you. So part of what I wanted to do for my Me Made May personal challenge was to sew less clothing and to try other things, because I always have a list of other kind of crafts and accessories and things that I want to try to make, and I never really give myself the time to make it. I'm like, new outfit, and everything kind of just takes a little bit of a back seat. I did push myself to try to make a few other different things this month. So the first thing I'm going to show you is this. So this is a present for a baby friend. I made a baby sleep suit. I saw these on a shop once and I thought it was really cute and really simple, and that I should definitely be able to make one myself. So I've just self-drafted this. It's basically like a little kid's top, but instead of like stopping where a top would or a dress would, it just keeps on going all the way down, so it would cover their feet. I've put poppers in the top here and the front, just to try to be able to get them in and out easily, and also a big zipper around the bottom as well. And the point of the zipper is to make it easier to kind of change them and stuff without having to take everything off. The fabric is a sample that I got from Chocolat, from their new collection. I'm not sure if it's out to purchase yet, but you might see some in stockists around Europe and things like that over the summer. So this is a French terry. It's got this kind of squiggly print over it. When I saw the print, I was like, this has to really be for something for kids. This is just too much fun to keep for myself. And I thought that this went really well, and I love that I managed to get these cam snaps on there. So if you've never used them, these cam snaps, these kind of plastic snaps, they're really easy to put in. Most kits come with all the bits to put them in, so like a little awl to make a hole in the fabric, and then a pliers punch, I don't know what you'd call it, pliers I think, that are specially designed to fit around the snaps. You literally just squeeze once and that is it. Not with any real strength either. So they are plastic. You can they get this like indentation on the inside when you close them, when you fix them in, and you've got like the male and female side there, and they just snap together like that. Really great for kids clothing, and they come in so many colors. I got a set off eBay and it just came with all the different colors and all of that, and they're just so much fun to use. I definitely recommend them if you're making kids stuff, as long as it's stuff that's not going to get ironed. If you iron them, they will melt. I've tried it and it's a bit disastrous. So something to bear in mind anyway. So that's number one. Number two that I'll show you, it's an unfinished project. I'm still working on this, but I just wanted to say that I have been doing stuff. I've been working on this knitted jumper from a Wool in the Gang kit. I've only done the bodice so far. I'm currently working on the sleeves, but it's taken me so long to make this so far. So this is the jumper, front and back. It's got this big frill over the front and a moss stitch on the bottom, which changes into this kind of lacy stitch on the top. I finished up to the neckline and sewed the two front and back pieces together. Yeah, knitting is hard. This is meant to be an advanced pattern. I decided I'm not a particularly advanced knitter, but I thought I'd just go for it anyway. Mostly because I feel like if there's instructions and the internet, I should be able to at least model my way through it with reasonable accuracy in order to get it. And this was just basically a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Partly because I think part of the instructions are not correct. When I started doing the sleeve, like there was a whole bit that just didn't match up number-wise in terms of number of stitches that they've said to do, and then what I would then need later on. So I spent some time just like rewriting bits and all of that. I'm not 100% sure whether I'm right or they're right. I have a feeling that I'm right, I'll be honest. I don't think that this is a particularly well developed pattern or kit, in that I don't think it's like one of the popular ones. I don't think they'll test it that much or check it, or that many people would buy it just because it's so involved. But I just really loved the idea of it with that frill and the change of stitch. I just felt like it's a lot more modern than a lot of other jumper styles that I see. It also comes in one size, by the way, so if you're not super tiny, it might be problematic. I think even for myself, this is going to come up a bit small, and one of my sisters may need to take it off me, so we'll see. Hopefully I will finish that before winter. I'm not making any promises though. These always take me much longer than I think they are going to. The next two things I'm going to show you are bags. So I really wanted to get started with some bag making. I bought all this stuff for it after I found cork fabric at the Knitting and Stitching show, and I was like, oh my god, this stuff is amazing. It's got a great kind of texture to it. It'd be really fun to make like bags and stuff out of it. So I bought loads of stuff, and then I just never got around to using it, but I did start. So what I started with was a little belt bag, which kind of works with this outfit. So I didn't make the belt. The belt's on eBay. I just used just a slim leather belt for that. Essentially I've just made a little pouch, which I thought was a really great starting point for bag making. It's nice and simple and basically just, you know, lower the chances of something going wrong. So just to go through what I've actually done. So I've got a flap that's enclosed between 2 layers on the so sandwiched in between there and just top stitched over that. The back of this has 2 little slits for the belt to go through. And I have just top stitched on this pouch, so created little seams on the corners and then stitched down all the way around. I've used these monk's head fixtures, bolts, screws, rivets, whatever you want to call them, onto the front here, so you can just kind of get something that holds on. So it's probably not the most secure thing in the world, but I think they hold pretty well. And I've just hole punched onto the flap to make sure that they're all in the right place and it all lines up, and that all goes in. So this fabric that I use, I also got off of eBay. It's a cork with these multicolored flecks in the background. You can tend to find cork fabric with lots of different colors in the background. So the most common ones are the gold and silver. They also come with like dark or light, kind of black or white in the background, but I went for the multicolored stuff just because I thought it was really fun. It's a really easy fabric to sew. Just bear in mind that at some points I was going through 3 or more layers over there and my machine went through it really easily. It's very easy to manipulate. It's backspin fabric. It's probably like just as easy to sew as any other fabric. Obviously it won't stretch and have the same kind of give, but still really easy to use. The other bag that I made, or attempt to make, is one using washable paper, sometimes called Craftex. So the idea behind this bag was to make a convertible backpack, i.e. one that goes from, sorry, don't mind all the strapping here, one that goes from being something over the shoulder, or like so, like a tote bag, to one that will convert into a backpack, like so. Clever, right? I saw it on Pinterest. I was like, oh, that looks like a really good idea. Unfortunately, I really misjudged my sizing and strap length and all of that with it. I'm putting it down to a learning curve. I don't really have a lot of backpacks, so I don't really have much to go by. I made it big enough to fit like a stack of A4 paper, but I think just visually it just doesn't look quite right. Next time I would just make it just that little bit bigger and make slightly wide, like the proportions are wrong. If I want it this length, I need to have it slightly wider, or have it this length, this width, and then have it shorter, so going down a bit more. I made mine so that it has a roll top, which then hooks down to another monk's head rivet at the bottom down here, and I've used Chicago rivets on the back here. So basically I use stuff that has like the least amount of like, you know, technical tools necessary, nothing that needed more than just like a screwdriver to put any of these things in. The paper itself was reasonably easy to sew. It feels strange, and I would recommend using quite a heavy needle to do it. You need to try to make sure that if you're sewing it accurately, because you don't want to have to unpick things and put things back together because it will really weaken the seams. But yeah, it feels weird, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I like it in white, or at least not like this. It looks a bit too much like I've screwed up a bit of cardboard and made it like this, even though it's meant to eventually kind of feel like leather with a bit of like wear and things like that. And I have seen really beautiful Craftex projects on the internet where it really does look like leather, but I think the white is just really not my favourite. I do have some rose gold stuff though, so I'm hoping that once I've kind of got a better idea of what I want to do with it, I'll be able to make something really beautiful out of that. So I've got one more thing to show you. I'm just gonna go grab it. So the last thing to show you is this hat. So this is another Wool and the Gang project. I was actually gifted the yarn and the book that I used to make this. So they've recently released a book, a crochet book using Raffia yarn, which is kind of something of a specialty of theirs, I would say. I don't see many places that use Raffia like that for crafting, so I think that they're trying to, like, you know, take that bull by the horns and run with it. I decided to start with a hat project, mostly because I've always wanted a big floppy hat, and I've never really, like, you know, gotten around to getting one, mostly because I think they look really silly on me, but I still really like the idea of it. So I thought, you know what, I'll just go for it. I'll make it. If I hate it, I can take it apart and make something else. And I've made this in the cinnamon dust, I think it's called cinnamon dust, raffia. So it's got this lovely, like, brick orangey rusty colour to it. And so you can see it's quite a simple make. I know that it probably sounds more daunting than it is. As long as you can do a magic circle and crochet in the round, though, it's really straightforward. Just single crochets around the top into a circle, and then once you get to the width you require, just going straight down, so it's like a tube, and then going up flat again. And yeah, actually I managed to do this really quite quickly. It is quite floppy, and I think that if you wanted it to have more body to it, I would recommend starching it or something like that. And I think that that would help it hold its shape if you wanted that. But I quite like the floppy look. I'll pop it on, you can have a look. Probably doesn't really go with my outfit at the moment. I think it'll be great with a sundress in the summer. Let's see. So yeah, I kind of like it. Doesn't, as I said, maybe not with this. I had an issue where I didn't check the tension on this before I got started. I know, really naughty of me. Checking tension, especially on a project like this, is so important, which I later found out because I was crocheting and I realised that this hat looks massive, and I got about maybe down to about here, and I was like trying it on, because you can when you do that when you're crocheting, and I was like, this doesn't look right. And then I checked my tension and I was like, I was crocheting much looser than what they intended. Unfortunately, I didn't have any small crochet hooks with me. Also, I didn't want to restart everything, so I just recalculated everything slightly. So instead of going all the way out to what the pattern says, I stopped basically one row in, and that was enough to adjust for the size. So yeah, always just bear that in mind with crocheting. There's a bit of, like, you can take a few liberties, I think, with these kind of things and still maintain the integrity of the design, which I think is important, because I mean, you're not sure how it's going to look otherwise, and I do really like how they looked in the images. But yeah, just a really fun sun hat. Definitely something that I would recommend. The book's actually really good, and it's got lots of really fun raffia projects, great for summer. Unfortunately, the sun has gone and it looks like it's not coming back, so I don't know how much use I'm going to have for something like this year, but you know, I could put it in storage. I'll bring it out next summer or whenever it's sunny next. Just a few words about May and, you know, what I learned and all of that. I had a few goals. Partly one was the no sewing thing, and I did that fine. I do find that actually I'm much happier when I'm sewing clothes, so I'm probably not going to do a ban like that on myself again. Maybe fabric shopping, but not on actual sewing. I think that actually once I kind of get in my groove, making new stuff clothes wise, I think it's really just, you know, it's very soothing to me. I would like to, I mean, what I did find is that, you know, that it gave me plenty of thinking time about what I really wanted to make and what my plans were, and, you know, really pushed me to start cracking on with some new projects as soon as the month ended. One thing I didn't keep up with, so I always said that, you know, I'd try to change into something me made every day, especially when I come home from work, and frankly I'm just too tired to do that, I've realised, and I'm like, let's not hold myself to unrealistic expectations. Most of the time I come home from work and I'm like in PJs straight away because I'm tired, I want to go to bed. But for the most part, when I'm out and about, not at work, I will be in me clothes all the time anyway. Frankly, my wardrobe's large enough to, like, my me wardrobe's large enough for me to be able to do that. The only thing I really missed was my dungarees, because I have a pair of amazing dungarees, which I normally wear a lot, and those got kind of pushed to the side, but that's fine. I'm not planning to replace those anytime soon until they're worn through, I guess. So that's really it for now. I've really enjoyed putting my focus on some other crafts in the last month, but I'm very much moving on to sewing lots of new things. I am sewing summer dresses in the hope that the sun comes back out again, but let's face it, I'm not holding my breath. So thanks for joining me today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.